Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to thank all you guys across New Tech, that's BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey, and those who occasionally watch on TikTok if you get to these messages by this time. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so very much, all of you here on YouTube as well.
We start things off from NBC News. Arizona Supreme Court turns to AI-generated reporters to deliver news. Communications Director Alberto Rodriguez said he's not worried about them taking his job. We still have to work with the bench to make sure that we're getting accurate information. Now, it's fascinating because back in the early 2000s when I was working for my friend's law firm in bankruptcy, he said, hey, at some point, I'm not going to need you to run these jobs because the courts will be using or we'll be scanning all the documents and using PDF files. Of course, so technology is a great thing until, of course, you're out of a job because everything's being scanned or used with the newest technology. So basically what happened was I would go to the federal courts in Macon and Columbus and retrieve documents from my friend's bankruptcy law firm. And, this was going to continue until they started scanning all the documents and putting them online. And eventually they scanned all the documents that were part of the bankruptcy filings, and so I was kind of out of work when it came to that. Now I could still do federal stuff, but or I could still do archive stuff from archives, but yeah. So that kind of ended that particular career. It was fun. I did it for about 4 years. I worked in bankruptcy for about 4 years, and then I went on to work into other areas of law, and I did that stint for a little while. So interesting, nonetheless. When the Arizona Supreme Court handed down its ruling in a pair of arson and DUI cases this month, the announcement wasn't delivered by a judge or spokesperson, but instead by two AI avatars that are virtually indistinguishable from real people. They're getting there. They're getting there. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Daniel and Victoria are the newest computer-generated faces of the Arizona Supreme Court as part of an effort to innovate how justice is communicated to the public. I think it's just an efficient way for us to get news out. Communications Director Alberto Rodriguez said, it's really an opportunity for us to meet the public where they're consuming their media. Now, here's the thing. It always comes down to efficiency and speed and capability. And as you guys know, I use ChatGPT here to help me aggregate information, aggregate news, answer some of the questions that we talk about here on the channel to make sure that we have all of as much information as possible. And it's absolutely extraordinary. And here's what's funny, just as a side note. I've noticed lately that on TikTok, people are using ChatGPT to argue with me. And I discovered that because ChatGPT uses a particular bullet point system as well as icons. And then that's how I knew the guy was, that's kind of how I knew the guy was using ChatGPT to argue with me, and just the way it was structured and the way it was phrasing and everything. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up copying everything he said, putting it in ChatGPT, and then giving him a response. So I thought it was kind of amusing. Of course, it's all metrics for me, so it's all good there. So I wasn't particularly worried about it, but it is interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let me put the volume on.
In a world full of deep fakes,
It's Taylor Swift here.
Hold on just a second. There's a big fire.
what happens when the face of your official source of information isn't human, it's AI?
The Arizona Supreme Court has...
Meet Victoria and Daniel, the official AI avatars for the Arizona Supreme Court.
Hey there, I'm Victoria, one of the Arizona Supreme Court's new AI generated court news reporters.
Why? Why are you doing this?
Why? I think it's just an efficient way for us to get news out. And then
Alberto Rodriguez is a public information officer for the court and helped design his digital co-workers.
So traditional production obviously takes quite amount of manpower.
And how much time does it take for Victoria to do it here?
It takes minutes.
I gotta admit, when she says, I'm Victoria, a news reporter, like my human feelings get hurt as a news reporter.
Yeah.
Do you see this ever replacing like news reporters?
I don't think so.
Arizona's Chief Justice Ann Timmer says it's important to note that everything you hear the avatars say is actually written by the justices themselves.
All right, so they're trying to legitimize it as just, this is a tool that they're using. And I don't have any particular issues with it in and of itself. Now, here's Rob Wilson from vidIQ talking about how this will impact content creators. Now, as a creator, it can make things a lot easier. For example, I've actually had the ChatGPT create images for me in my thumbnails. Now, it can take a little while sometimes for them to generate. As a matter of fact, I tried to get it to generate one for me last night, and it never could do it. But it does make things a lot easier. And what he's saying here is pretty much what I was describing to you when it came to when I worked in law. And that is, it's going to put editors and writers and other individuals that work with content creators. Now, of course, I would love to have an editor. I would love to have a graphic designer to do my thumbnails. I would love to have a publisher. I'd love to have all these people working for me. But, of course, it all takes money. And I know I've done voiceover myself, so I charge a much more reasonable rate doing voiceovers than just, say, the standard $100 an hour for professionals, or $100 an hour that you would find on some places, unless you go to some place like Fiverr, where you're going to hire people for obviously $5 and up and so forth to do stuff. But basically what Rob is saying here is that it will change the landscape in time. Like right now, they're still working on a lot of this AI, and we see this here from Futurepedia, and he's talking about how the advances are happening and how he has how he's been working with the Google VEO 3, I call it VEO, but Google VEO 3, and how it's becoming more and more realistic, and how we've made so much progress just in like a year. You know, where are we going to be even 6 months or 12 months from now, or even 5 or 10 years from now? It's going to be quite extraordinary. Now, I'm not playing any of the video simply because copyright strikes, and you know, it's another thing that YouTube has gotten very strict about is that sort of stuff. Now, I don't think it'd be really a copyright strike for my channel, as I would just be showing commentary with it. But it's extraordinary to see, because even musicians, people in the music industry, are also concerned. Here you see Rick Beato talking about the tools that songwriters, will it be irrelevant in 2025? I don't think so. I mean, songs still have that human nature to them, right? The experiences that we experience as human beings, storytelling and these sorts of things are relevant. Are obviously going to be much more, you're going to be aware of who is writing it based upon, say, like a computer generating it versus a human being writing something, especially something as complex as music that has a lot of nuance in it, a lot of human emotion and thought and nuance to it, right? Because even though the AI is very powerful, like we've seen for years here on YouTube, that it doesn't have the ability to understand hyperbole and these sorts of things, or inferences, or slang, or phraseology. You know, it just knows that if someone says word this, like COVID back in the day, we couldn't say COVID. We couldn't talk about COVID because the AI would flag it and immediately shut it down. And to an extent, it still goes on today on YouTube. You know, many have argued, fellow commentators have argued, that because of, you know, the AI's ability to see everything, and whether it's visual representations that we have in thumbnails, or images that we use in our videos, or even the video itself, and of course anything we write in descriptions and everything else, all these things are being looked at by the AI. So everybody does their their descriptions and everything differently. But even all of these areas here have all changed, because see, everybody, he's got his with timestamps. So everybody's having to make all of these changes on YouTube to be able to accommodate the new algorithm. And a lot of it is based upon what they call the satisfaction algorithm, or satisfaction argument that they have within the algorithm. And so things are constantly changing. But as far as AI is concerned, I mean, I think everyone can make distinctions. If you've seen some of the newer AI videos that have come out, people talking about them, you would realize, you know, it's very impressive, and it's getting there. And yeah, in time, I think it will improve. Whether or not it'll be as good as, say, like songwriting, and of course the Hollywood and the entertainment industry is very concerned about it, because they can just replace human beings. And as Rob was saying here, you know, editors, writers, graphic designers, all these people that are part of the community within YouTube and creators, it'll have an interesting impact. You'll have to let me know down in the comments section. Have you been toying around with any ChatGPT, or even with Google VEO 3? Have you been using any of these? Have you experimented with it? Have you been trying it out and seeing if it works for you, and getting information and so forth? Let me know down in the comments if you've experienced that. But of course, I do want to thank all you guys across New Tech, that BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey for your guys' continued support. And of course, everyone here on YouTube, you guys have been amazing. And that's what I had for you guys this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, so avail yourselves to that. And of course, if you order frequently from Amazon or a Prime member, you can use my landing page link. Your privacy is protected and does help out the channel. And speaking of privacy, while you're online, I have my favorite Trust Zone VPN virtual private network down below. You can check it out. No bloat, no fuss. Get straight to what you want to do. And you guys have just been amazing here in 2025. Thank you so very much for your patience. If you're here on YouTube and you are subscribed, as well as selecting notifications, if you guys want to let me know down in the comment section if you're receiving the different posts that I have, because sometimes I will remove things like shorts and so forth because I'm looking to generate a little bit more robust performance from the channel. So I hope you guys are not getting overly saturated with information. So I was just kind of curious about that. So you guys want to let me know down in the comment section. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so very much. All of you guys here on YouTube, that right there on the screen, you will see the channel icon appearing there. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys behind the Galaxy phone camera with the new 7.0 update or something like that, the 7 update next week.